Hello, folks, and welcome back to High Fever, your Indiana Fever basketball podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barcenas. We've got a big one. First off, WNBA gets chartered flights, and I'm going to tell you why you can thank the Indiana Fever rookie, Caitlin Clark, for that. Next, Fever and the Atlanta Dream played the final preseason opener. Fever got the W, and the Fever roster is finalized before the game tomorrow. Okay, starting off, first things first, WNBA gets chartered flights for the first time in league history. Now, last year, the New York Liberty were fined $500,000 for chartering flights, and they also committed some other league violations. So, this is big news. And why is this big news? Because our rookie, Caitlin Clark, by the way, if you're listening and you're not a Fever fan, this is the Indiana Fever podcast. I'm about to be very biased. Okay. Our rookie, Caitlin Clark, has definitely got more attention than any player of her level in the NBA. And what I mean by that is I don't know of any other rookie that was getting this much attention. It's getting national media coverage. Her games are being televised. Just look at how many nationally televised games the Indiana Fever had last year as compared to this year, and tell me that she's not making an impact. Now, Stephen A. Smith of ESPN reported that Caitlin Clark actually spoke to league officials and talked about the benefits of chartering flights and why chartering flights at this moment was so important for the league. Look, I understand that last year and years prior, other players have absolutely advocated for this, and the league has needed this for a long time. Just last year, Phoenix and Brittany Griner were chartering flights to avoid her being harassed at airports. Guys, you had professional basketball players flying flights with normal people. Does that sound right to you? Because it doesn't sound right to me. And it's finally due time. I recognize that other players have been influential in this, and I'm definitely going to shout out those players who've come before Caitlin Clark and have advocated for this because the league has needed this for a long time. But the fact of the matter is, Caitlin Clark is the one that pushed it over the edge. And you can thank her because I think the league is moving into a new era where you need this. This is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And you could thank Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark for that. Does this mean better play for the league? I sure hope so, because finally players are not going to be tired from catching a red eye from the Las Vegas airport to go play in a back-to-back game. This is going to be very, very important for the league because it's going to act finally like a fully professional sports league that it kind of wasn't without chartered flights. And somehow, by the way, last year there was this whole thing during the middle of the season where the league is so underwater. There's no feasible way for it to ever afford chartered flights, unless they set up a GoFundMe on the team's website, like you had to pay for their chartered flights. All of a sudden, like in 2 days, out of nowhere, there was a story that team officials just didn't even know about this, that it was just announced out of the blue. So apparently there's money somewhere to go charter these flights, and it's not as big of a deal as they once made it. So definitely weird there. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the Fever and the Dream. It was the home preseason opener. The Fever finally got a win in the preseason. Pretty nice. Kelsey Mitchell was out with an ankle, and your starters were Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Christy Wallace, Nalissa Smith, and Katie Lou Samuelson for the first time. We get to see her in action. A little bit of early turnovers. Definitely rusty, definitely a preseason game. Aaliyah Boston came out with a mid-range that looks good. And last game, she was definitely tired. She was definitely laboring. But I'll tell you what, that mid-range looks really good. I'm excited for that this year. Aaliyah Boston definitely looked better speed-wise. I think there was a little bit of rust. And I mentioned this in the last podcast, but somebody pointed out that she definitely was laboring. And it's just from, I think, just not playing basketball for the whole offseason, doing those TV spots. She was definitely had to kind of work herself back into it, but she looked a lot better today. Caitlin Clark went 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. She had 12, 8, and 6, which is a crazy line, almost a triple-double. She's going to get a lot of those in this league if she keeps playing like that. The light was still green. I mean, the light is not going to be yellow, and it's definitely not going to be red. She's going to have a green light, and she's definitely trying some stuff. She's trying creative passes. She's trying some passes that didn't really work out. There were passes that were stretches. She was putting it in spots that I don't think she's going to make in a regular season game. There were a lot that didn't work out, but she was running the floor, sharing the ball. Spacing was good. Finally, we look like a competent offense. Like, Melissa Smith can actually get space and shoot. Katie Lou Samuelson was amazing. She looked aggressive, and coming off of that year, I expected her to look a lot worse, but the stroke is there. The three-point is there. She was aggressive. She was putting her elbow down. Some good stuff. Caitlin Clark has so much gravity. You don't want to say that about a rookie, but she's got so much gravity that it doesn't even matter that she might not be taking the shot. She just looked so good. This is going to be a tough team to play, and I've never been more excited to say that. Melissa Smith had 21. There are scores on this team. Sorry? I don't know what happened last year. Actually, I do know what happened last year is there was nobody to distribute. There are scores on this team. Breaking news, everybody. There are scores on the Indiana Fever. We're going to put up some points. We're going to win some games. This is coming together really nicely. And Chrissy Sides, I think, is starting to actually understand this roster. Finally, she was making some good substitutions. She was kind of moving the rock, getting everybody involved. Caitlin was running most of the plays, I would say, but there was good Chrissy Wallace time. I like the way Grace Berger's playing. This is a well-rounded squad. And for their final preseason game, of course, they packed out Gainbridge. Their first game versus the Sun is sold out. The Connecticut sold out their arena for the first time since 2003 for an opener. It's going to be a madhouse, but this is a good team. Like, make the playoffs level team for sure. Final thing today is the Indiana Fever have finalized their roster. They have exercised the 4th-year option on the rookie scale contracts of guards Lexi Hull and Christy Wallace, and they also waived Maya Caldwell and Leilani Correa. So some pretty much from what we were seeing minutes-wise, this was kind of no surprise to me. I like the way Lexi Hull was playing. Christy Wallace, I think, was going to make the team. But, yeah, just a good roster, a good enough roster, I think. They also took the contract of Damiris Dantas, and she is not with the team right now due to, I think, visa issues. So, actually, Victoria Saxon actually made the team. Pretty cool. I like the roster. It looks good. There's enough shooting, I think, around your playmakers. Aaliyah Boston is going to be a force down below. And the rotations this year are actually going to look good, I think. Obviously, they hit in the draft with Caitlin Clark, so kind of no surprise there. The players that I'm actually kind of glad made the team, Celeste Taylor, okay, Lexi Hull, obviously. And that seems like, to me, kind of the best roster that they could have put together. Tomorrow night versus the Sun, at the Sun, actually. And again, a sold-out crowd over there. Let's see. I feel good. I think I'm absolutely predicting a playoff berth. Are we going to win? We'll see about that. But I feel good, and you should too. This is going to be an exciting season. Can't wait.